Welcome everyone. Can you all see my screen? I'm working with a new computer today, so I want to make sure that folks can see my screen. I can get a thumbs up from my team. All
We can
right,
see
thank
it,
you so
Amy.
much. Thanks everyone for being here. Welcome to the 26th Arvin Lamont Community Steering Committee. We really appreciate you all being here. Appreciate all of you who showed up early today to join us in today's meeting. As I was mentioning earlier, we have an important meeting today as we will be having a vote today. So before we get started and going into the logistics for tonight, just want to make sure that we are providing an equitable space for everyone and ensuring that everyone is connected. So before you get started, make sure that you do mute yourself if you are off mute. We do ask that, especially for tonight, that you change your screen name. You can do so by editing on the top right-hand side of your video picture. You will also see our colleagues, our team, do the same thing. So tonight I'm accompanied by my colleague, Liz Lev, and you'll also see Gabby from our team and Laura, who you may have seen in other CSC meetings throughout the district. They will be here today to help with our voting and to help with renaming. So if you are a CSC member, we ask that you use the following conventions, that you put CSC, your first name and your last name. If you're a resident, that you have an R. Again, we are here to support with this, but so you might see that we will change the name for you. All other participants, we ask that you follow the naming convention that we have listed here. For those of you in our Spanish channel, the translation is now live and available. So please do make sure that you also follow the naming convention for today. As I mentioned earlier, tonight's meeting is available in simultaneous translation from English to Spanish and Spanish to English. If you are a monolingual English speaker, please select the world-like interpretation icon on the bottom of your screen. So Zoom has updated and it looks slightly different depending on what device you're on. So if you're on a tablet or if you're on a desktop, it might look a little bit different. Do make sure that you see this global icon here and that you select the appropriate language that you are comfortable in for tonight. At this time, I'm going to pass it to Diana to give us the same instructions in Spanish. Diana.
Thank you. Buenas tardes. El día de hoy tenemos disponible la opción de interpretación en español. Si están conectándose desde una computadora, van a ver en la parte inferior de su pantalla del menú de Zoom el icono de un globo. Hacen clic en el globo, seleccionan español y luego seleccionan silenciar audio original. Y si están utilizando una tableta o un dispositivo móvil, tocan su pantalla, seleccionan los 3 puntos, seleccionan interpretación de idiomas, español, silenciar audio original y para finalizar la opción pueden seleccionar finalizado, terminado o listo. Gracias. Thank you.
Thank you all. And so as a reminder, we do have some virtual meeting etiquette that we follow as part of all of our meetings. This is just a friendly reminder. So please do stay on mute unless you are speaking or planning to speak. Of course, if you're calling in, we know that folks are traveling and might be calling in before they arrive to their home destination. Please use the *6 option if you're calling in. Please do use the Zoom hand. Today we will be having a big discussion, so we are going to be monitoring the conversation. We ask that you raise your Zoom hand or physically raise your hand. We can see that too. And as a reminder to our residents that participate in the stipend program, you should plan to stay on for at least 75 minutes or 75% time of the meeting to be eligible. That ends up being about 90 minutes of our 2-hour meeting. If you have any questions about the stipend program, please do feel free to reach out to myself or anyone from the Hardering Company team. In order for us to have a productive discussion and respectful dialogue, we ask that you remember that we want to help achieve the meeting goals by focusing on solutions and opportunities and having a productive dialogue. We want to make sure that we let everyone participate. Again, as I mentioned before, because we are going to have a vote today, we want to make sure that folks can step up to the conversation and step back, have a civil and respectful conversation. It's okay to disagree, but please be respectful and empathetic and civil. stay on point, stay on time. We do our best to keep our conversations moving forward and to help us stay on track. We ask that you attack the problem, not the person, and that you seek common ground. Again, none of this should be new. These are all the conversations that we've had in the virtual meeting space and when we meet in person. For tonight, we are now doing the welcome and introductions. We'll momentarily shift to providing you with an overview of the action items, and then we'll quickly or swiftly move to a voting. So we'll talk about the membership and leadership for this CSC. We'll have a chance to have some discussion, and then we're actually going to do something different that we've done in the past when we've gone to voting, where we move you into a separate breakout room. During that time, you'll have a facilitator in each of the virtual breakout rooms where we're going to ask you to give us a vote. So you're going to give us a vote in favor or a disagreement vote. And then after we finalize that vote, we'll come back and we'll talk about continuing the road paving and sidewalk installation discussion. We expect to have a rich dialogue at that point. And then, of course, as always, we will do our best to make time for standing updates and have time for wrap up and upcoming agenda topics. And of course, leaving space for public comment. Something that we practiced last time and we all thought worked really well, we received feedback from you all, is that during each agenda item, we do take comments from the public to ensure that the topics can be covered in the order that they're presented. So if you are a public member today and do have a comment or a concern about any one of the things that we're covering, please do make sure to raise your hand and we'll call on you after the CSC members have had their dialogue. So for example, at 5:45, when we talk about the paving and sidewalk installation, if a public member has a comment at that time, we will take your comments at that exact time after the CSC members have discussed it. And then if you have any general comments and you're part of the public and you don't see that your comments fit into today's agenda, we ask that you do reserve those comments until the very end. Any comments or questions before we jump into the agenda? I see Mario has his hand raised. Go ahead, Mario.
Yes, I want to know why they put SPR on my name. Mine's supposed to be CSC.
Yes, good question. Way to stay on top of it tonight. It's because we're going to put you in a Spanish room as a resident. So as I mentioned today, we have our team has brought extra support. We are accompanied by Laura and Gabby tonight to help us count the vote. And so it's just to help us put you in the right room. So you'll see that extra coding for tonight.
I see that too.
It's just for us to keep track.
Too, I was seeing that my computer's getting glitches, and I see other ones getting glitches.
Yeah, I see Francisco, and your computer video is a little off. That's likely, I don't know if it's the same for others. It's likely a bandwidth issue. Do others see that?
I only see it for those two people as well.
Mm-hmm. So what we can
La
do,
mía también
Mario,
no está
is
jalando bien. Elvia García también no está muy bien.
Elba Garcia no se ve.
Elvia García se está cortando también.
Okay. Maybe we can. I see Mario's has stopped. Can you all hear me? Is it my issue or is it?
I hear you.
No, Amy, we can see like the green and then like the grainy part of Francisco, and previously it was Mario and Elvia también.
I wonder
but
if
no.
I wonder if Mario and
Dr.
Elvia and Francisco maybe turn off their cameras just because of the bandwidth issue, and maybe they can hear us better.
Mario, I'm going to go
Jessica.
ahead and turn off your camera right now so you can hear us. And then we can come back to your video, hoping that the bandwidth clears up.
Jessica, they have the Air District devices. Those three members have Air District devices. So I don't know if the network is not working for them. I also got a message from Elvia right now mentioning about it. So
That's a good point. We can, thank you, Bianca. This is Jessica. We can definitely look into that, and we'll note that right now to double check that the devices maybe are up to date. Maybe that's part of the issue as well. It was a very odd glitch. So that makes a lot of sense, Bianca. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. And there are updates on Zoom. I'm seeing that folks are commenting on the chat. And the other thing I want to bring your attention to is we do have a lot of storms happening across the state. So weather is an issue right now. I know where I'm at, I've had multiple power outages throughout the Southern California region. So depending on where you're at, there might be some technology glitches that are out of our control. So if that happens while we're taking a vote tonight, we'll do our best to ensure that we place you back into the correct room. So with that said, I'm going to pass it to Jessica to provide us with an overview, and then to have the Air District go straight into the action item overview.
Perfect. Definitely. Thank you, Dr. Ramos. Good evening, everyone, and welcome. My name is Jessica Olson. I am the Director of Community Strategies and Resources overseeing this program. And I'm just so grateful for you all spending many different evenings with us, whether it's at this event, our monthly meetings, or at the pesticide subcommittee, or even the agenda setting meeting that was used to set up today's agenda. And so as a reminder for those that either weren't there, or really if you were at our last meeting, today's discussion is really a continuation of our last meeting. We're going to start with a membership discussion, and just to be transparent, it's on the agenda as well. We're not just going to update about membership, but also about the co-leads. And so that's the vote that Dr. Ramos was talking about. We'll get to it in a little bit, but in case you feel like you're interested, I'll give some time while we do action items. As of right now, the only official nomination and I should say acceptance of the nomination, a few other people were nominated but did not wish to be co-leads, is for Cesar Aguirre from CCEJN. And so if you feel that yourself or someone else you would like to nominate, go ahead and put their name in the chat or think about it for the upcoming item, just so that way we can streamline that discussion a little bit when we get there. But I just wanted to be upfront about what that decision will be. We will also hear from Caltrans and an update from the city on our ongoing road improvement, sidewalk, and bike lane discussion. So thank you all for helping us set the agenda and for being here. And I'll go ahead and just pass it to Eric for action items.
Hi, good afternoon, everybody. I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen. Can you all see the action items? Perfect. Alrighty, I'll go ahead and start with our ongoing action items or our pending action items. So the Air District will develop a frequently asked questions document about City of Arvin projects and processes. So as we receive these questions, we will definitely combine them and get them on a document and share them all with the CSC. So as a CSC, you are all welcome to reach out to us, and we'll get some of those questions out to you all. And that will be ongoing because there will definitely be questions in the future that will be circulating. Alrighty. Our next action item is CARB will look into the possibilities for using AB 617 funds for grant writers who can support proposals for smaller communities within the Arvin and Lamont boundary. So the Air District and CARB met to discuss funding the applicability. I'm sorry, the applicability. CARB has funding through their community air grants program through direct support community groups. One such eligible project is one that establishes partnerships or collaboratives to assist priority populations in, sorry, I'm getting a glitch on my end, in accessing statewide public and other grant monies for climate change mitigations, adaptation projects, and can be used to hire consultants or technical experts separately. The district also has fundings for community groups in the form of mini grants, which are geared more towards outreach and activities. I know that was a mouthful, and we're definitely going to reach out to the CSC member that brought this up to us. As you all know, we do have community air grants, so if you'd like to learn more, here's a link with some more information. I'll go ahead and go back. Alrighty, so our next action item is CSC members should take pictures of bus stop areas that are currently flooded, unpaved, and no sidewalks, and send them to Caltrans for them to review. So CSC members are encouraged to reach out to Lorena. Here's her email down here from Caltrans. So please feel free to send any pictures of bus stop areas that are flooded, unpaved, and that have no sidewalk paths. I'll go ahead and drop that in the chat for the action item section. Alrighty, our next action item is the Air District will send out all presentation materials to the CSC. This is going to range from the city of Arvin, Kern County, Caltrans, and reading membership updates. So we're going to continue to send out all presentations in all forms via email and mail to the CSC. Alrighty. The CSC is encouraged to review the Arvin and Lamont membership renewal, presentations, updates, and explore ways to recruit new members. So the CSC and the district will continue to work together on recruitment needs and explore the possibilities of adding new CSC members. Moving down to our completed action items, and sorry for this split, it's splitting up on my end. Alrighty. So the Air District will email CSC members the link to the action item tracker. So we're going to have a redirect link, and this link will always redirect you to our most current action item tracker. And if I click on this, it'll just bring us back to this page. Alrighty. City of Arvin will develop a proposed list of other projects that can be ready to go based on CSC member interest and support. So the city of Arvin will discuss a list of potential paving, sidewalks, installation projects that the CSC has concerns about and has brought an expert to explain in more detail. Alrighty. And our final item is that district will mail out hard copies of today's presentations to CSC residents and members. So the district has mailed out copies to the CSC of today's presentation materials. If anybody has any questions, feel free to unmute. Alrighty, I will stop sharing my screen and pass it back to Harder.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for those updates. Really appreciate you all staying transparent about the progress on all of these action items and continuing to provide us with these updates. At this time, we're going to move to our next agenda item. I'm not seeing any questions from anyone from the public or from CSC members. Also looking at the chat and not seeing any questions. All right, so that takes us to our next and exciting agenda item, which is CSC membership and leadership. During this time, we're going to have a discussion about this agenda item provided by the Air District. We'll have an opportunity for you to openly discuss membership's renewal process for this particular CSC. So please do make sure that you get all your questions answered before we move to an official vote. So as part of the voting process, as I mentioned before, you're going to automatically be placed into a room, and in that room, you're going to have someone that's going to call on you and ask you for a vote. We're going to make that tally up that vote live. So I will stay in this main room and I'm going to display the votes as they come in so that we can see what the results are of the vote. So folks who are following us live on YouTube or watching this recording will be able to see the vote happen live. So at this time, I'm going to pass it back to the Air District to open up this discussion.
Thank you, Dr. Ramos, and thank you all again. I am going to review. We spent about 2 minutes on these slides at the very end of the meeting. A few of you dropped off, but talk about membership first, because you did all help us go through a membership renewal. I do have a couple of just feedback questions, just really high level I want to get, but we can always take them offline as well if we're starting to start a big discussion about recruiting new members, because the focus of this item really is the second piece, which is the co-lead. So I'm going to share my screen. This is a repeat of the slides that you had the last time as well, but I will walk really quickly through them. So just as a reminder, we did a district-wide membership renewal in August of last year. We just asked folks to reconfirm their interest in participating, and we just wanted to update contact information. And so we appreciate all of you that either called us and had us fill it out with you, or filled it out on your own, or worked with some of the community groups that helped you with kind of that technical assistance. We did have a few folks that we called several times or in addition had not attended any meetings in the past year or longer. And we then started to do additional outreach, and you'll kind of see what that ended up in the next slide. But as of right now, we've taken those folks off that haven't participated in over a year and didn't follow up with us if they were originally on the CSC. There were also folks that did not renew. I will pause by saying if folks were removed because we were unable to reach out to them and they were originally on the CSC, and their residents or any other applicable type, and they still qualify, we would love to have them back. We just were unable to reach them throughout this process and unable to contact them at all in 2022. So just as a caveat. So just as what we're seeing here, and I'm going to hide these. I don't know if you're able to see these, but there we go. Okay. Just as a kind of a summary of folks that were no longer able to participate, we had 7 residents. 6 of them were folks we haven't seen in over a year, like I just described. Again, we would love to have them back if they're interested in continuing to participate. And they definitely have capacity. 1 person just let us know, did answer the phone, did work with us, and let us know that they're not interested in participating. We also had 3 business members and 1 school official that similarly were removed or no longer work for that organization or just didn't have time or capacity. So we wanted to be transparent about that membership update as well. I do see, oh, okay, just making sure. I saw something in the chat, but it doesn't look like it's relevant to this. So the next sort of slide is a little breakdown. So one of the things we aim for in this program, because it's in what we call the blueprint, so you'll hear CARB occasionally talk about the blueprint. We talked about it in the beginning, and it's pretty relevant now because CARB is updating that blueprint, which is really the guidance from the state on how to conduct AB 617 at the district level. That blueprint suggests and really requires to have the committee composed of mostly residents. So that means more than 50% of the entire group should be residents. So you can see, even though we lost a few folks, we still have a vast majority that are residents, and definitely a lot of great participation from you all. So before I get to the next slide, I have already heard from folks, and I just wanted to make sure that there wasn't, or just kind of maybe get general consensus or general feedback from folks. We have heard from folks that there are people out there that are residents within the boundary that are interested in this process and maybe weren't able to participate when we first did the solicitation. Maybe they just didn't apply in time, or maybe they didn't even know about it and they've learned about it from kind of all of the goodwill you have all brought to this process. So our question is, we did lose 7 residents. And so I guess what we'll just ask is, are there any concerns or feelings about maybe once again asking folks, maybe interested folks you've all heard from, not doing a huge recruitment, of course, like we did last time. We still have a really large committee, but if you've heard from folks, is there any concern about us just opening up for a few more interested residents, especially folks that have sort of been waiting and have been interested in participation? Maybe I'll just pause and see if there's any thoughts or comments on that. Gustavo.
Yeah, when you say few is replacing those 7 residents that did not continue, or 7 plus few more?
I think the goal, I mean, I'll just generally say we don't have a cap, right, on the committee. We were very clear about that when we first opened it up. I think the goal would just be to backfill. I don't think we would put a cap on it. So if for some reason we got 8 or 9 eligible, interested folks that wanted to be a part of this process, I don't see us right now putting a cap on that. I can definitely talk with my team and make sure I'm right on that. I think we wouldn't do a big campaign, I will say. So I think we would look to you all, again, because we've already heard that there's like interested folks, and maybe that would be how we would do the recruitment, is to hear from you all, and you all kind of find the folks that you think might be interested.
Yeah, thank you. Well, I support the idea of at least replacing the 7 residents. I think the more community participates in the meetings and decision-making process, the better.
Thank you, Gustavo. I see Mario and Elvia's hand.
Yes, I would like to see members that been with us for a long time. I would like to see if they could call them back, because they got more knowledge of what's going on. Because if we get new people, the new people don't know what's going on, and it's just like a setback. And I would like to see the older people who was with us, they know what's going on, and they could follow more, what's going on. That's what I would like to see.
Thank you, Mario. And we'll note that as a comment. I will say we have tried to reach out to those folks several different times in several different ways, and even asked a few of you who might know them to help us reach out. And most of those folks haven't participated in over a year at this point. So it might not be the case that they're as caught up. I will also say, and I failed to mention this and I apologize, we won't let new folks come in blind. We will do our best effort, and we would look to some of you maybe to help us with this. But we would like to host what we'll call sort of an onboarding, or like a new orientation, so that folks can kind of come up to speed with all the work you all have been doing. I will just, for context, say it was pretty successful in a different community. We did about the same time, a new recruitment for new members. We did kind of an onboarding process and had a special couple of meetings with them. But I do hear your point, Mario, and we can certainly continue to reach out to those folks. And then I see Sandra.
Yeah, I just had a quick question. Is it possible to have those 11 spots go directly towards residents? So instead of having like more businesses, we would just have 11 new residents or more?
Yeah, I don't think there was any necessarily, and maybe I'll go back to this. Yes, so the 3 additional businesses and then 1 school official. I don't think at this point there's necessarily a breakdown or a composition that we're looking for on that end either. So I think to your point, Sandra, and to Gustavo's question, if we get 11 really interested residents that qualify, I think that would be okay as well. So I'm definitely hearing general support. What we will do is we'll reach back out to all of you once we'll have to, of course, get the application back out. Once we kind of have final direction, we'll kind of send a little flyer and some information out to all of you, and maybe a request for you to tell us who you think might be interested. And definitely one of the things we're trying to do with folks is be really transparent about the commitment and kind of what the work looks like. And so we think you guys are some of the best people to display that and to describe that, right? Because you do it on a monthly basis with us. So I'm not hearing any opposition to doing a recruitment. So we'll work on a kind of a plan for that and reach back out to you with what that kind of new recruitment plan could be. All right. Okay, so now for the other really exciting thing, and I just want to pause by thanking, of course, we've talked about Gustavo Aguirre Jr., who was one of our community co-leads for a really long time, along with someone who has continued to be a great co-lead in Bianca Santoyo. Bianca is an Arvin resident, and we continue to appreciate the direction and the support that Bianca gives us and gives the community members who come to her. I definitely think, I'll just kind of from the district perspective, we appreciate and really look to the co-leads for direction on a variety of things. And what's written down here is what we've discussed when we first elected the co-leads. So none of this has changed. But community co-leads have helped us provide background materials to committee members. Community co-leads have helped us develop meeting agendas. Of course, we now have agenda setting meetings, so really everyone's involved in that process, but we still do meet with the co-leads to check in on things occasionally or ask for direction or even just guidance on developing a particular item. We also, of course, haven't really been meeting much in person, but the 2 times we did, we checked in with the co-leads about where we were going to meet. And then, of course, the facilitation team, as we develop certain types of meetings, we work really closely, of course, with our facilitator, and those co-leads are a part of those meetings, when they kind of get, maybe the meeting itself has a lot of moving parts and we really want to coordinate with the co-lead. So those are the responsibilities of the co-leads, at least as we've defined them together, right, and how we've worked so far. Like I mentioned a few minutes ago at the top of the meeting, the way that it worked the last time we did co-leads is we took nominations and then voted. It really was up to the community who they wanted to be a co-lead, how many folks wanted to be co-lead. We did ask ahead of time and then in an email if there was anyone interested. We did get a few nominations, but so far the one that feels like the person is also interested in the job, like I mentioned earlier, is Cesar Aguirre from CCEJN. And so maybe I'll kind of pause there, see if there's any other questions about the co-leads themselves, questions about the process, and then maybe any other nominations before what we would officially, maybe, I don't know if we want to hear from, I don't want to put Cesar on the spot, but hear from Cesar or any other nominations or thoughts before we go to a voting process. So maybe I'll pause for process questions and then go to you, Cesar. All right, it sounds like people are pretty much understand what we're doing. So Cesar, yeah, putting you on the spot maybe a little bit. I don't know if you want to have anything to say before we kind of just break up and do a vote.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much for the opportunity and definitely the nomination to be able to be co-lead. I think, with being part of an organization that shares the same vision that Gus shared when he was co-lead would help keep us on the same track. I've also been involved with AB 617 since before it was AB 617. Me and a lot of community members that are on this call, went to Sacramento to ask to be one of those first communities to be chosen. I was part of the process in Shafter. I've received pesticide safety training. I've received a certification for visible emissions evaluation. Just today, I do spend a lot of time in the communities. And just today, I made a report about the refinery because there was, black smoke coming off of a place where black smoke shouldn't be coming off of. So I communicate with inspectors regularly, and I'm aware of the SERPs and the blueprint and how they influence the process. So I think I would be a good fit to be co-lead because not only am I aware of the process, but I think, for me personally, making sure that AB 617 stays true to its message of being community-led and making that the heart of AB 617 is my mission. So, I think on my behalf, making sure that community members are heard and respected is going to be of utmost importance to me, and making sure that the community choices and concerns that are heard are, respected, and that we hold space to be able to hear community members when they'd like to speak. So that's my 2 minutes, and I definitely appreciate your nomination for anyone that would like to consider me to be a co-lead.
I see Gustavo's hand.
Yeah, just to, so I received a call from the district. Jessica called me saying that someone nominated me. I just want to thank the person or persons that nominated me. Thank you so much for thinking about me. But Bianca, although she's acting as a resident in Arvin, from Arvin, We are co-workers, so I think it was appropriate for me, not to do that. We want to be inclusive and just giving another organization also, contributing. I believe that's more appropriate than Bianca and I from the same organization, representing there. So thank you to the persons that, put my name there. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. All right, Dr. Ramos, I think it sounds like we're ready.
Yeah, thank you so much for that comment. And thank you so much, Cesar. I'm going to go ahead and move us into a breakout room. So what will happen momentarily is as soon as I open these rooms, you'll be shuffled into a virtual space. So please do accept the move once you see it pinged up on your screen. So what should happen now is non-voting members will stay in this main breakout room in the main channel with us. And so we are still streaming live on YouTube. And I'm making sure that what we have here in this space is our city officials, non-voting members, and public members.
I think we still have Maria Villa.
I'm looking for Maria Villa. Where is she?
She belongs in room 3.
Okay. So on.
Do you see her here, Heather?
She just left. It disappeared right when you asked that.
Oh,
Perfect. Sounds good.
And I will start calling out the names.
Maria Villa, I still see you here.
She came back.
So I've pinged her again. So Maria, you should be able to move. Into room 3.
Dr. Ramos, did you know who iPhone is? I'm not sure if it's Odon Chavez.
That's who I thought it was, but I've tried to get him to unmute and I'm not having that. Are you already done, Bianca?
No, I finally switched off to my computer. I was on my phone.
Oh, gotcha. Okay, let me move you. And then the iPhone, I'm going to try. I think it's Odon. So I'm going to move you both right now.
And we have Marie Gonzalez. She's Francisco's daughter, and she wants to apply for the position. I don't know if we could, if you could send me the application, I could get it to Francisco or his daughter.
Mm-hmm. I see Heather is here, so Heather could send that over to you. Who is sharing their screen right now?
It says iPhone is sharing the screen.
Yeah, I've moved them away. Okay.
Do you want to get my vote? I don't have to get in a group, or do I have to?
Yeah, I just pinged you. I think you just rejected it. So I'm going to ping you again.
I don't know. It hasn't shown me. It hasn't shown it up to my.
¿Ahora sí me oye?
Sí. ¿Quién habla? ¿María?
Sí, soy María Villa.
Okay, María, were you able to vote, María?
Sí.
Okay, so you're fine. Let me broadcast the vote. Bianca, for some reason, I think because I put you in a room and then you switch devices, it's not letting me. So I can track your vote right now.
Okay.
I think I moved her in a room right now.
Yes. Okay, perfect.
So give me one sec.
Alonso?
Yeah, I think she was put in Liz's room. Unless
She
she got
moved?
bounced. Unless she got bounced to another room.
Who are you talking
Bianca
about?
should be in Liz's room. I'm not seeing her.
Room 5. that would be-
Bianca. So why we did not see Bianca in our group.
Yeah, she switched devices, so she came back to the main room.
Yeah, I see that.
A yes for Cesar or a yes?
It looks like she did move to a room. I'm trying to see which room that would be.
For.
Feel free to put me back into a room.
Okay,
Ramon's voting too.
she's in Laura's room in the Spanish.
Okay, that's fine. So you all can see the votes right now?
Yes, we could see your screen.
Go to the top, the chart, the vote tracker, and I'm gonna scroll down slowly. And if you wouldn't mind looking over your vote and make sure, you know,
I'm
correctly
hearing somebody's vote right now. As folks are coming back to the main room, what you're seeing right now is the tally of votes that are happening live. Those of you who are watching from the live stream or watching the recording, what is happening right now is that we have several members in different breakout rooms going through their voting process. And you're seeing their votes be tallied up here. In this column, you see the vote for Cesar Aguirre, and we're seeing so far majority vote. I'll go ahead and stop sharing my screen, as most folks are pretty much done. All right, seen a couple channels still chit-chatting. I see 2 rooms still fully engaged. So as we wait for them to come back, you all can see the votes here. Are folks ready to come back from your voting, or do you need more time?
Amy, can you give me co-host permission so that I can guide folks from my room back into the main room?
Yeah.
Liz, I'm going to go ahead and put you in Mari's room to see if they are done. I'm not getting a response from her room. right, looks like everyone is back. Thank you so much to all of our teams for supporting us. We have a full team today from the Air District and from the Arvin Company facilitation team to help us tally the votes. And so at this time, I'd love to congratulate Cesar Aguirre and being nominated as the new co-host. So you can see the votes here. See the tally of votes. Any questions or comments at this time?
I just like to say thank you everyone for the support and for choosing me to be the new co-lead.
All right, wonderful. Well, we look forward to working with you on behalf of the Arvin Company team. We're really excited to have a new community co-host, and we look forward to having all these meetings together to ensure that we have an equitable process for the implementation of AB 617 here in the Arvin Lamont community. So with that said, I'm going to go ahead and move us along to the next agenda item. Thank you so much for everyone holding tight. These are part of the governance procedures that are so very important for, oh, Liz?
I think
I want to say something.
Oh, go ahead, Mario. Is that what
I just want to say that congratulations that now, you know, he could speak out and do the good things, but, you know, I know he could do. And I just want to say congratulations.
Thank you, Mario. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Mario. Any
Felicidades,
other
César.
comments?
Muchas felicidades, César.
Gracias, Francisco. Muchísimas gracias. Te agradece.
Felicidades, César. Soy Elvia, felicidades. Sabrina, Julie, Jessie, felicidades.
Muchísimas gracias. Se aprecia mucho a todos. Gracias, gracias.
Felicidades, César, de la familia González de Terril. Felicidades, César.
Se aprecia
And just
mucho.
want to know,
Muchísimas
Cesar,
gracias.
you're
Thank you,
getting all the
everyone.
love and recognition and
Sorry.
congratulations on the chat as well. You have a shout out from Sandra Plasencia. Congrats, Cesar. You're doing an amazing job. And you also have congratulations from Victoria, from Giovanni, from Jesus. So I hope you celebrate tonight. Thank you so much for your leadership.
Thank you. Thank you very much to everybody.
All right, well, cheers to you. And we are going to move to our next agenda item, where we'll have a conversation that we started at our last meeting. So as you all know, in January, we heard directly from the city of Arvin. We gathered feedback from everyone on a couple of those very specific CERT measures, including vegetative barriers, road paving, sidewalk, bike paths, improvements, etc. At today's meeting, we're going to continue that discussion on road paving and sidewalk improvements. Tonight we have, again, City of Arvin, we have Kearney County Public Works, Caltrans, they're all present to help lead this discussion, and we encourage the CSC members to ask any clarifying questions. As the presenters give their presentation, please do raise your hand so we can keep track of the questions that you all have. And each presenter will let you know if they'll be taking questions at the beginning or after they're done presenting. With that said, I want to make sure I give any space to the Air District for any comments before we dive into the presentation.
No, I just wanted to thank our collaborating agencies and thank you all for coming and working with us. We definitely do appreciate it. And without further ado, if you have anything else, I'll go ahead and pass it to Lorena.
Perfect. Thanks. Welcome, Lorena.
Hi, everyone. My name's Lorena Mendibles with Caltrans Planning here in Fresno, District 6. I'm glad to see you all. And I wanted to share some information on our planning grant program. I will go first, and then my counterpart, Paul Panetta, the engineer, project manager, will also follow right after me. So I have some important information on some transportation planning grants. And I don't know, can I share my screen or yeah. Okay,
Yeah, you
let's see
should
if I
be able
can.
to.
Okay, let's see if I could do this. Share screen. And I'm going to go here. Can you guys see my screen?
No.
It's coming. There we go. You're
Okay,
showing it
yeah,
now.
it's a little bit, it's taking a little bit of time. So this is our transportation planning grant program. It's been going on for many, many years. And what we do is there are transportation planning studies. So this year is our sustainable.
Lorena, I hate to interrupt. Can you zoom in just a tad bit for us, please?
Let me see if I can.
There you go.
Can I do that?
Yep.
There?
Yep. Perfect.
Okay,
Thank
here
you
we
so
go.
much.
All right, so our sustainable community planning grants, there are 25.5 million statewide. Ooh, I don't know why it's doing that. Can you guys see the red lines on there or? Well, anyways, I'll keep going. It's to encourage local and regional planning and further state goals. It includes, but not limited to, goals and best practices cited by the regional transportation guidelines, which are usually with our council of governments, which is Kern COG, which is part of, encompasses the city of Arvin and Shafter and those cities in that area. We worked with Christine Vitarelli on one of these grants for the city of Arvin. And so these were very successful. And from those grants, we can also help establish construction or capital grants. So we also have a climate adaptation planning grant that's also going to be for $50 million. And this also supports local and regional climate vulnerability projects, and then our strategic partnership, which is they address statewide interregional transportation deficiencies. And these are grants that have to be partnered with either a local agency, council government, city or county agency. And our grant cycle, the call for projects was January 12th. And right now we are currently in discussion with different agencies right now that have topics of interest, and we meet with them. We spoke with the Kern Council of Governments. We also had a meeting last week with a leadership council with some of their contacts. It wasn't specific to this, but I did mention this information, and I also provided the application guide. And so March 9th will be our application deadline, but we encourage any of the agencies that would like to meet with us in regards to any transportation planning studies. If they're interested, they can call me and I can set up a meeting and meet with you. Also, now let me stop sharing here. Let me see.
Lorena, did you want to share a different screen?
Let me share another screen real quick. It's kind of slowed down a little bit. I think maybe it's with the rain. I want to share something else real quick, and then Paul can go after me.
Yep, no worries. We understand. I was having the same
Okay.
issue.
Okay. All right, let me share here. Can you guys see my screen? Okay, so we have also Clean California. This is a new grant program that has been out for about, it's going on the second year. Now this right here is, this is going to be happening in Shafter and Wasco. Let me see if I can zoom in a little bit. Can you guys see that? So there's going to be a tire drop off Saturday, March 25th in the Taft landfills. And this is part of Caltrans, Kern County, and the Clean California program. And there's no charge to this. So this is going to be Saturday, March 25th. Saturday, March 18th. This is going to be in Bakersfield in the Benna landfill. And you can take all your tires there. There's no fee. And then also beginning March 17th and March 27th, there is going to be we're doing a Clean California Community Day pledge. So if anyone in the community wants to get together and do a cleanup in a certain section, certain area, this can be anywhere, Arvin, Lamont, Shafter area, we can get together and help with that effort. So these are all the announcements that I have right now. And so if anybody has any questions, please reach out. You could email me, or if you have questions now or after maybe Paul speaks, I can answer those questions then.
Could you put that zoom in bigger, let that get the number?
Oh yeah, sure. Let me go back to sharing.
And Lorena, as you're doing that, is there a website where folks can download that?
Yes, there is, and I can put that in the chat afterwards.
Perfect.
But yeah, do you need this
There you
number right
go.
here for Tammy or for Kern County Public Works? Actually, I can put that in the chat for everyone too. And then I can also email it to Eric after, if you guys would like.
That sounds like a great action item. So we'll make
Would that
note
be
of
okay?
that.
Could you
Yeah, that
send-
sounds perfect.
Could you send that one email to me?
Yep.
Yes.
Yep, we could send that out to the CSC. Thank you, Mario, and thank you,
Yeah,
Lorena.
because I would like to get some information to the companies here in the tire shops. Maybe they could help them out a little bit.
Yeah, no, absolutely. This is to your benefit, to help everyone in the community. And
Yes,
please,
yes.
reach out if I can
That's
be of
the
any
point. Thank you very
Awesome.
much.
All right, I'm going to stop sharing now.
And Lorena, we do have a question in the chat for you. Is this listed somewhere on social media so that the CBOs that are here today can help advertise for you?
I will ask our public information office. Normally they do put it on our Instagram, Caltrans District 6, but I don't know if it's on there yet. I don't think it's on there because this information just came out this week. And so hopefully it will be out there. But once it gets uploaded onto Instagram or Facebook, I will make sure that Eric knows, and the leadership council as well, and anyone that needs that information.
Sounds good. Thank you so much. I'm not seeing any questions right now, so we can pass it to Paul.
All right.
Okay, let me share my screen and where is it? Oh wait, something is. Oh, I need to open it.
Paul, feel free to use the link that I just dropped in the chat for the roundabout project if you'd like.
I'm trying to share what the I can't find it in the wait, where is it? Let me go to there it is. Found it. Okay, So can everybody can see my screen? So I'm going to share about the 184-223 roundabout project. Next time, I think I was asked to share about the project in Lamont. I can do that next time, but today I'll just share about the roundabout project. I did get a question regarding that project on the north on 184 by Fuller Acres, but I could share that next time. But today I'll just share on the roundabout project. So welcome. This is the 184-223 intersection roundabout project. So this is the existing intersection. It's a four-way stop sign. And you can see the long line of cars waiting on a stop sign. This was taken several years ago. This is what gave impetus for this project. Long line of cars waiting to go through a stop sign. That's a long line of traffic right there. And as you know, when you idle, you waste gas, you pollute a car waiting to go slow through a four-way intersection. So project details, the project is to improve the goal is to improve the operations of the intersection. The construction cost is 6.1 million. It's currently in construction and we expect completion around March of 2023. So why was the roundabout proposed at this intersection? It's mainly one of the reasons why we proposed the roundabout instead of a signal was to reduce the number of crashes, typically on an intersection, on a signalized intersection, and to reduce the severity of crashes. On a roundabout, you don't get head-ons and T-bones, so those are very severe intersections. So very severe collisions or accidents. So a roundabout kind of technically eliminates those T-bones and head-on crashes, which could cause severe injuries. In terms of operations, you will have less delays, more capacity than signals, and it costs less to maintain than a typical signal. So a roundabout also reduces emissions and greenhouse gases. There's less vehicle idling. It accommodates all users, so it slows vehicular speeds, shorter pedestrian crossing distances, and with fewer lanes. And you can see this is on the northeast corner by the gas station on the northeast corner. You can see the sidewalk. This is a 10-foot sidewalk. You can see the pedestrian crossings up there. And you can see some decorative treatment around where the roundabout's going to be.
Paul, I see we have a couple questions for you. Would now be a good time, or would you like to wait?
Yes, they can ask the questions now. Go ahead.
Okay, so we have a question from Mario and Elvia. Go ahead, Mario.
Yes, I got a question. On these roads that you guys are building, you say that there are less wrecks. Right there, going towards Buttonwillow, right there, Rosedale, do you have a couple made there? I seen accidents, people driving fast in those areas. And I seen a couple collisions there. What do we expect for here, that knowing that the kids, you know, how they like to, you know, drive crazy around in circles, that we didn't have collisions in these type of areas, especially a place like this?
Well, a roundabout has what we call splitter islands. Let me see if I could show you a picture. Okay, this is a splitter island. So this is a splitter island. This one, as you approach the roundabout, it will cause you to slow down, and it will direct you to the right. You can see it will direct you to the right. So you are directed to the right. So you cannot, and there's going to be a center island on this one too. So you cannot do you cannot speed through this intersection. You'll have to slow down to 15, 20 miles per hour.
but there's a lot of kids, they like to challenge things like that.
Yeah.
And believe me, I've seen it done.
Right, right.
And I don't know.
Well, with the roundabout, there's no, they cannot, this is a raised median right here. They'll have to slow down, otherwise a car will get hung up on this. You'll feel this splitter island.
Yes, yes, I totally understand where you're going at when people drive normal.
Yeah.
But in our area, we have a lot of people that likes to make donuts and drive crazy on circles and stuff like that. Do you feel that this is gonna be safe for these type of areas?
A roundabout, oh, definitely, because again, on a roundabout, you don't cross each other. You go around in a circle.
Yes.
So there is no T. You can't T. There's no T-bones. There's no head-ons. The roundabout prevents that because it directs you to go on a rightward movement.
Yeah, I totally understand. But the thing is that there's some people that it's like I've seen a couple of accidents in places that have these circles. I mean,
yes,
they drive normal, but they still have accidents. And I feel that I don't know, it's a lot of money to spend on something that it is not really safe.
I think we have data that will bear it out that on some.
Do you have public records on accidents in these locations?
Yes, we have roundabouts that have been completed in some areas, and we do have accident records before and after. And if you want to email us, I could direct you to our public information office, and they could provide you that. We do have data. There have been roundabouts that have been constructed, and they've been in operation for several years. And we do have the accident.
That'd be good to investigate. Yeah, I'll try to figure that one out. Thank you.
Sure. Oh, one more thing, and you can see all the pedestrian crossings here. This yellow highlighted here. These are pedestrian crossings, so this will allow you to cross safely across each one. And then I think eventually this corner will also, these other corners will develop, and you'll have the wide sidewalk. And again, you see the pedestrian crossing. We don't have the crossings yet because it's still under construction, but eventually there'll be a pedestrian crossing at all four corners, here, right here, over here, and somewhere there.
Thank you, Paul. We also have a few more questions.
Sure.
Let's take Tim's question next.
Hi, I had a question regarding this project. The main concern is the reason why you're showing us the runabout is it because your timetable shows that the runabout is priority, and then the secondary repairs to the 184 on the north side by what's known as Main Street of Lamont, and then Fuller Acres is secondary to that function. But my main question is, are all sections of these repairs or your phases of repairs funded already, or are they tied to some funding regarding that runabout and then this one to another one? Because I remember attending your spring public works meetings where you were discussing the improvements to the 184. You mentioned that the runabout is your priority right now and these are secondary, but you also mentioned that the north side of the 184 that passes the 58 to where the north side where Bakersfield, that part also gets improvements before the Lamont and Fuller Acres, because that section of the road is designated to be surrendered to the county. So are these all separate and are gonna be completed, or you're gonna complete the runabout in the north side of the 184, and then when you have time, you'll get to the main part of Lamont?
Oh, okay. Well, the projects are all fully funded. The reason this one went through is because of just time. It just they were planned way ahead of time before the 184 projects were conceived. So the 184 projects, they are fully funded. It's not that these are priorities, but these just were on the pipeline earlier than the 184. Yes, yes. There are two projects actually on 184. It goes from the Georgia Road, I think, all the way to the connection to 178. So the one from 58, from the railroad track on the north, I think that's from Breckenridge to 178, that will go first. Hopefully it will start construction sometime this year. And then after that, the one on 184 that goes from 58 all the way to Lamont will follow right after that.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Paul. And related to that, we have a question in the chat. What's the cost of construction for the roundabout, and how long in years does it take Caltrans to build from the initial design to completed construction?
Well, like this one, this roundabout, the cost is 6.1 million to construct because we had to redo the pavement also. So this project was conceived in 2014. But then we had to buy right of way. We had to negotiate right of way from all four corners. That's why it took quite a bit.
So the design you can was imagine initiated. Did you say 2014? I think I missed.
Yes, 20. It was initiated in 2014.
Thank you. And I'm seeing a question from Sandra. Go ahead, Sandra.
Yeah, this is just a quick follow-up from what Tim was saying, but I just kind of wanted clarification on whether any of the AB 617 funds are going to be spent on this specific roundabout, or if they're going to be, and if any of the AB 617 funds are going to be spent by any other Caltrans projects, and if so, how much?
I don't think we have access to those AB 617 funds. We use our own state funding under the State Highway Operations Protection Program. That's under the control of Caltrans.
Okay, thank you. Just a quick follow-up question. Sorry.
No problem.
I did want to stress the safety in both Lamont and Fuller Acres when it comes to Highway 184. It gets very dangerous, specifically for the children. So we do want to stress that that is a community priority, and we would like to see improvements.
Yes, it's coming. We do have a fully funded project. We're working on it right now.
Right, those are all the questions we see right now. I don't know if you had more to present, Paul.
No, I think that's it. Okay, I'll start share. How do I stop? Yeah. Okay.
And when is official public comment anticipated? Grecia, is that you mean for this project or for right now?
Is that a question? Public comment?
Do you have a comment right now? I see a question from Evelyn. So let me take Evelyn's question, and then Grecia, you can go next. If you mean like you have a question right now. Evelyn?
Hi, yes. So Paul, I had a question. So I drive through that roundabout pretty often, almost every day. And I noticed that the roundabout is a little bit tighter than the one, let's say, going towards Button Willow. Is the way that a project is designed and selected different based on certain criteria? I guess my concern is I drive a relatively small vehicle, and I just remember thinking, I don't know how, a big rig is going to get through here safely without, running over the middle or something. Obviously the expectation is that people will be safe and use their best judgment driving anyway, but only because I have a small vehicle and I find it a little bit difficult to maneuver and through there, even with the stop sign that is currently in place. So could you just shed some light on how the design is selected and why it seems to be a little smaller than the Button Willow one, please?
Okay, so the roundabout or state highways generally are designed to accommodate trucks. The biggest vehicle we have on the road, they accommodate trucks. This roundabout will accommodate trucks. They will navigate through the roundabout. Well, if you notice when you're done, if you see on the center island, there's a paved area where a truck tire could traverse, or a wide vehicle could traverse the part of the center island is designed to for a truck to traverse through. So yes, a truck will make it through. But on the roundabout, you enter the roundabout when it's clear. So you cannot enter if there's a vehicle blocking your way. You only go through when it's clear for you. So
Thank you.
Great, and at this time, we'll take public comment for this project. Grecia, go ahead.
Yeah, just I'm looking at the presentation that you posted online. Thank you for the link. I just wanted to know when you were planning, if there was going to be a planned public input process outside of these EB 617 meetings, and if there are any dates selected so we can put it on calendars. I don't know, were you able to hear me?
Can you repeat that?
Yeah, I just wanted to know if there is a process for public comment, for public input outside of these AB 617 meetings, and if so, when is that anticipated?
Thank you. So that's a larger question for Paul and Lorena. So generally speaking, for this project, is there a chance for public comment? With the acknowledgement, Grecia, that it's going to be complete, the estimated completion date is March next month, right?
Well, usually public comments are accepted during the planning process when we initiate the project and when we let out the environmental document before we go into design. That's when the public is able to comment on the project. So I think for this one, we are past that stage.
Right. Yeah, I think we're past that stage right now.
Yes.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Caltrans. I'm seeing one more comment, or at least one right now. Tim, go ahead.
Is the public comment for the other two projects open? Because have you done the environmental work for the other two, the north side parts of the 184?
Let me share a simulation while I answer that. You can see how a roundabout operates. You can see my screen. Yes, the public comment for those two projects were closed. The environmental process was completed around 2018. Sometime in 2018. So yes, the public comment is closed, but we are still accepting. It's currently in design. If we are able to make some changes, accommodate something in design, we can if we are able to.
And my other question for Lorena would be, if residents in the community would still continue advocating for the surrender of 184, the southern part of it, to the county, would the funding for these projects would be transferred to the county or would be retained by Caltrans?
I believe that goes to I believe that goes to the county.
I can answer that, Rena.
Yeah, yes, please, Paul.
Okay, so yes, if you want, if the residents clamor for the relinquishment of 184, we can certainly accommodate that, and then we could negotiate with the county to transfer the funds to the county. Yeah, it is possible. We can do that. Yes.
Thank you. Those answered my two questions.
Okay. Yeah. So here you can see the how the roundabout operates. You can see that you kind of wait till it's clear before you go in. You can see the trucks going around it, and that's why you see how it's kind of safer. You don't have a T-bone or a broadside or a head-on accident. You go direction to go right. You can see the splitter islands right there. Okay.
Any other comments or questions at this time for Lorena and Paul?
Okay, I'll stop sharing now.
So Paul, Lorena, Christine is asking or making a comment that she doesn't see the pedestrian crossing. What about areas with heavy pedestrian traffic?
In that specific area, or is there a specific area she's asking? I believe that's what Paul prepared for. Paul, do you have any
For the
response for her?
roundabout? For the roundabout, well, there's pedestrian crossings. I think I showed them. They can't be seen in the pictures yet, but they are. But since traffic slows down to 15 miles per hour as you approach the roundabout, then pedestrian can safely cross. Let me see if I could share again. Right here, see here. So this would be a pedestrian crossing right here. Oh wait, let me see if I could share it. So you can see this is where the pedestrian crossing would be. So traffic slows down to 15 miles per hour. So a pedestrian could safely cross. So there'll be crossing on all four corners right here. And you can see the yellow, that's where the pedestrian crossing would be. And there'd be one over here. So you could safely cross cross the highway safely with the roundabout. It accommodates pedestrians and also bicycles safely.
Thank you both so much. I'm not seeing any questions right now from anyone or on our live stream. So I think we're ready to move on to Christine's presentation.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for your time tonight. I'm going to make this quick just to sort of recap and discuss the items that that we discussed at the last meeting, but not as in depth. Eric, could you bring up the slides?
Yeah, I could go ahead and share our social pinpoints. Let me go ahead and pull that up again. And then per our website, we do have your slides.
Yeah, I just wanted to show the two that I prepared.
Okay. Can you all see? Alrighty, and I'm gonna go ahead and zoom in a little. And I'll pass it back to you, Christine. Thank you.
Thank you. So just to recap, we evaluated the information that was given to us from the CSC at the last meeting. We currently have our city engineer out there looking at the Comanche, the areas that were identified by the CSC, namely Comanche, Sycamore and Comanche, Sycamore and Meyer, Arvin Avenue, 4th Street, and El Camino Real south of Comanche. So we're looking at all of those areas. In addition, we have just been given today some additional CSC sites. And so we're evaluating that. I did send that to our city engineer and our city planner for review. And next slide. So here's what we're doing. We're looking, I'm working with the engineer and the planner for feasibility and cost estimates. So as you know, Arvin will roughly have about 6 million for roads and sidewalk improvements, and Lamont will roughly have about that same amount. So we need to determine what can be done within the funding amount so we can bring it back to the CSC Also, Kern County has indicated that they wanted to do some work on Comanche. I know that Comanche is a high priority for the residents here. So I have approached Kern County and I need to follow up with them as to whether or not they could consider doing a collaborative. So part of Comanche is Arvin jurisdiction. The other half is Lamont. The county is in charge of Lamont. Arvin is in charge of the Arvin side. My thought is, in order to save costs, perhaps we could collaborate and do the projects at the same time and save money, and perhaps have the county do the Arvin side. And we're still having those discussions. More needs to be done on that. The other thing that I wanted to note is that the CSC has indicated that Highway 223 is an area of concern. I've heard some concerns specifically about the Walnut intersection. And I just wanted to reiterate that anything on the 223 is Caltrans jurisdiction. I'm trying to work with Caltrans on putting together a collaborative project for an intersection crosswalk, light, or signal at the area of Walnut and 223. Previously, the city has had a Safe Routes to School outreach plan from residents in Arvin, and they've indicated that this is a priority project, an area for them. So we're going to continue to conduct outreach and get more information from the residents. But I wanted to be clear that that intersection is controlled by Caltrans. So they would need to do the implementation of the project. And I'm hoping that we can work together to collaborate. And then one more thing that is listed on this slide that I wanted to mention is that Arvin and Caltrans has been able to successfully collaborate in past opportunities. Currently, they have planned improvements along Highway 223 in Arvin, funded through the Clean California grant, and we're collaborating and working with them to beautify Highway 223 in Arvin and to improve the crosswalks in existing crosswalk areas along 223. So I just wanted to let you know I'm following up with the request from the committee, and that's my current update, and that's all I have. Feel free to ask any questions if you have them. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Christine. Truly appreciate you being here. Giving folks a moment to ask any questions. I see Gustavo Aguirre has his hand raised. Please go ahead, Gustavo.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, just to add to what Christine mentioned on the 223 and Walnut, and we just submitted some pictures that the steering committee members from Arvin collected about that. And I think this became, it was, and now is more a priority for Arvin, because I think what Christine shared the prior meeting about that new development across the street now, and Christine shared also I think a study that was done there with pictures of school students crossing there where there is no crosswalk, safe crosswalk there. And now the Bakersfield College campus is being built there. The city have plans for a new supermarket, for new housing, and so on. So that area is being developed, and the Walnut is not a open cross for traffic, and that will create a lot of pollution. As that new area is developed, people will have to go either through Comanche, or I think the other, I believe, is Campus, the street that goes in front of the city hall. So they will have to go around, just to cross there. Not mentioning that, right now, a lot of students cross there, that street, and the traffic signals are in Comanche and Campus. So traffic go very fast. That's between those two traffic signals, and it's very dangerous. It's not even safe just to, try to build just a pedestrian cross there. It will need a traffic signal there. Thinking about, reducing pollution, I think this should be a priority. In this is based on what also the residents mentioned. Last night we had a meeting with, I believe, most of the Arvin CSC members, and that was raised, with all of them, that now is a priority, and that will help reduce the pollution. At the same time, the safety for the students. One is the safety, but also, if there is a safe cross for students there, parents will not have to drive to pick their kids up on the BC or the high school. So that's became a bigger priority now. On top of what Christine mentioned, the Comanche, I think the county is willing to do that. My understanding is that you are having conversations, and Yolanda Alcantara, I'm putting her on the stage, that she mentioned to me that the county is willing to take the lead there. I think there are things to plan and everything, but it looks like the county is willing to do that. That's also a priority, as Christine mentioned, for the residents in Arvin. So I think our hope is that Caltrans folks that are here, please take notes, big notes, huge notes, and bring those to your buses. That should be a, Caltrans is being here participating with 617. I think, and it's great, that you already shared one project that is finalizing and helping, the Arvin and Lamont communities, and you have other projects on 184, but specifically in Arvin, I think this is the opportunity that Caltrans can make a contribution. Here on 617, and I just want to mention, I think that in other previous conversations, other folks mentioned that Caltrans have several ways to raise funds for this kind of projects, but I think even if there is a need to use some of the funds for that intersection, Walnut and 223. I believe that's something that I think the residents may be open for conversations, but I think the direct request right now is for Caltrans, to take a step forward and start, collaborating with the community and the agencies to make, that a priority and start planning for that to happen. On top of the other streets, as Christine mentioned, we met last night and we collected pictures from several steering committee members throughout the community of Arvin. So we shared that with the district and the city, and we also sent about 135 signatures from the neighborhoods that the county is recommending for the Lamont area. So those are some of the conversations we are having with the communities. So I think this is a great opportunity for Caltrans to play a central role here. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. And I am seeing, Paul, you had your hand raised, but I'm seeing double Paul now. So I'm going to make sure you still have your hand raised.
Yeah, no, I just want to say that we did have a successful collaboration with Arvin on the signal at Derby Street. That was part of the funding came from Arvin through the HSIP grant that they received. So yeah, we've had successful collaboration with Arvin. And I think if you want us to look at that intersection, at Walnut, you can send a request to us. Or we could do a traffic investigation, do further studies. Yeah, we can do that. We just need to receive a request from the public to get that done. So
yeah, I'm sorry for those that have their hands up, but just to follow up, who should made the request? The city of Arvin, the CSC members, the district? What's the process? How it works?
could be it could be the public through the city of Arvin. You have a representative at KernCog. It could be coursed through KernCog. We have a member who sits there at the KernCog board. So it could be coursed through the city representative there, and then it could be passed on to us.
And how can we at 617 influence that? Because it looks to me like initially it's going through current cog, but how can we keep that project getting the updates here at our 617 meetings?
I'm not sure if I could answer that. So I think if you request, Lorena, could you answer that?
Yeah, we can make that effort. We can, with Paul Pineda and his staff, I'm sure that we can maybe provide like an information sheet of what's going on, maybe like some announcements that are going to happen, or just everything that's project related. I'm sure we can make an effort to let you know.
Yeah, and just to also put Christine on the hot seat, because I think at the end of the day, the city and Caltrans will have to collaborate.
Correct. Yeah, and I know Christine very well. We've been working together on some grant projects, and so and we've been talking about the need out there, and she's been on the forefront of the community members, and so it is known that we're going to have to work with the city of Arvin.
Yeah, and Christine, can you take the lead, and we, the residents and CSC members, provide the support we can provide for that process?
Absolutely. This has been a project that's been needed since 2018. In fact, our Safe Routes to School plan identifies it from 2019, and California Walks identifies it from 2018. So I know I've mentioned this multiple times, so I think sure I'll help out however I can. If committee members want to send me an email requesting support for the Walnut and 223 intersection, I'm happy to forward that to Lorena, and Lorena is our District 6 representative as well, which I believe her information was also earlier placed in the chat. But absolutely, I'll help however I can. Thanks.
Wonderful. So we're going to turn this into multiple action items. It sounds like we can have community residents can directly email Lorena and provide that request. And then also Gustavo, if you could follow up with Christine, and Christine will also send that request on behalf of the city of Arvin. We'll put it in the tracker and we'll talk about that update at the next meeting.
Thank you.
Thank you. And Gustavo, I want to make sure your questions got answered before I turn to Mario. I know he's had his hand raised. Are you good?
Yeah, I think just want to be sure that there are planned next steps, because I think it's a priority, and the soon we start, taking action, the better, to start planning or doing, the initial, work that needs to be done there, because it's based on what I heard, and residents from Arvin can correct me if I'm wrong, but last night we had a meeting with most of the CSC members from Arvin, and all of them shared that concern that now that, especially as I mentioned, that new development, that intersection is becoming a priority for the community, especially, when we are thinking on 617, reducing pollution. I think that's now one of the good projects that can be developed in Arvin to reduce pollution.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Mario?
Yes, the only thing I want to say is I think Christine is doing a really good job trying to fix up the problems in Arvin, and trying to figure out how to the best of her ability to fix up the problem. I just feel that the CSC from Arvin should give her a chance and maybe make a meeting or something, so that they could figure out what could they progress and do something positive in Arvin. That's what I'm seeing. I just want to say that she's trying her best, and I feel that we need people like her to do what she's doing, to progress Arvin, to make it grow, make it stand out, and help out the citizens from there. And I feel the CSC should give her a chance, because we have to remember we cannot all do it ourselves. We need people like her to help us out to make our place a better place and a safer place. And that's all I want to say.
Thank you so much for that very important comment, Mario. Maria y Roberto.
Sí, buenas tardes a todos.
Buenas tardes.
Solamente mi comentario es para, pues, agradecer que se está tomando en cuenta mucho lo que el comité directivo está diciendo. El señor Gustavo lo dijo muy bien. Ayer estuvimos platicando acerca de eso. Si ya el Distrito del Aire ya revisó las fotografías que se mandaron, entonces yo pienso que están viendo que muchas calles de la ciudad de Arvin están en muy mal estado, pero el proyecto de la 223 también es muy importante. Es muy importante porque en verdad que va a reducir mucho la contaminación y el tráfico que se hace ahí. Entonces, me da gusto escuchar que las dos, la ciudad, tanto la ciudad como Caltrans se van a poner de acuerdo y van a trabajar por el bienestar de Arvin, de la comunidad. Y pues eso es lo único que yo quería decir, que qué bueno que ya vieron las calles, que la señora Cristín también ya vio que hay muchas calles en mal estado. Y pues para adelante vamos a seguir trabajando y a ver hasta todos los proyectos que se puedan hacer para la ciudad de Arvin y Lamont.
Gracias, Maria. Yolanda, I see you have your hand raised as well.
Yes, good evening, everybody. I just wanted to reiterate that the county is happy to collaborate with the city on Comanche, and it would ultimately be up to the community to make the final choice on which projects they want to move forward. So last week I gave a list of projects, and so those totaled almost $14 million, and we don't have $14 million for the county portion. So I guess through this process, everybody will get a chance later to vote on which ones they want the county to move forward. And that's it.
Thank you, Yolanda. And while you have the floor, Yolanda, any other updates before I go on to Gustavo's question?
No. You know what, I did, actually going back through our list, I did find some errors that I left off one road, Panama Road. I thought it was covered with another funding source and it wasn't. So that added another $1.2 million to the project list. So once we line up all the projects, I can move it forward. Maybe I'll post just that map or send it over to the Air District and we can make that public. So that was because we were proposing to connect two neighborhoods like north of Panama and south of Panama, but Panama itself, Panama Road, doesn't have sidewalks in between these two projects. And I'm like, well, that's not going to work. So we've gotten a cost estimate for that and added that location to the list.
Perfect. Thank you so much for clarifying that. So we'll turn that into an action item so that we can be sure to follow up with you and make sure the Air District follows up with you as well.
Okay.
Thank you. Gustavo?
Yeah, I just want to piggyback on Yolanda's comment. Yolanda, I did share that new slide with the district. Actually today I didn't share all the document that you shared with us because I was not sure if it was public yet, but I used that slide with that your permission, so you reprimand me if you want. But the good news is last week we were walking the streets, several CSC members and CCJN, CRPE, we were walking the streets in those neighborhoods, especially in the document you mentioned, Yolanda, north of Panama Road, we walked those neighborhoods, and south of Panama Road, we walked those neighborhoods, the green area that you have on the map that you shared. We collected about 135 signatures from residents specifically from that area. And I think looks like the change that you made, including Panama residents like that, connecting the two neighborhoods as you mentioned. So looks like that's what the residents are supporting right now, your recommendations. I think there are still, some questions of, which one, like the Montview area. We're not sure if it's just the Montview or the Montview and the neighborhood, but that makes sense. And I think what the residents were saying is maybe for, you included Comanche, and I think that would be great, because it's for the Arvin residents, looks like it's also a priority. So I think everything is being connected. But just want to let you know that I did that. I'll send you the information that I sent the district, Yolanda, today or tomorrow, so you can see, what we sent the district. And thank you, Yolanda, for your work.
All right, you're welcome.
Thank you, Gustavo. So we'll also turn that into an action item. You're going to be busy, Gustavo. It sounds like you all have been very busy over the last month and, over the many years doing a lot of this work. So we appreciate you sharing that update, Gustavo. And we will be sure to provide that as an action item and give some follow-up to that. And so actually, Gustavo, that helps us transition to our next agenda item, which is providing the community with some general updates. And as part of those updates, we have some updates from the air district around the air monitoring. So I'm going to pass it to Heather to just briefly give us some updates.
Good evening, everyone. This is Heather Hanks. I'm with the Outreach Communications team. My pleasure to be here with you this evening. We are still working on deploying air monitors, as you know. What I want to do tonight is a reminder and just kind of simply walk you through where that information lives. I know we have a new audience every meeting, and I want to make sure folks know where to go to get that information. So I'm going to share my screen, and I'm actually going to take you. All right. Let us share. There we go. All right. Thumbs up from Dr. Ramos. You see my, okay. You are looking at the Valley Air District homepage. We often talk about the community.valleyair.org webpage, which is where all of our AB 617 information lives. I'm going to show you how to get there from valleyair.org. If you remember nothing else, valleyair.org is the home root of all of our information at the district. And on this main page for the last 4 years, in this top sort of pole position, you see AB 617. And that's, if you forget our main page, or excuse me, if you forget your community page, that's how you get there. And when you click that, it takes you into all of the information for all of our AB 617 communities, which is awesome. And of course, you guys are looking for Arvin. And tonight, right now, we're talking about air monitoring. So I'm going to go ahead and show you that each of the AB 617 communities in the San Joaquin Valley is listed on this main page. And Arvin is on the left here. And you have two options at this point. You jump into your community page where steering committee agendas live and all the documents that we post, or you can jump right into the air monitoring page, which is actually what we want tonight. And that's where of the air monitoring, obviously this is an ongoing project and process, but of what's been deployed so far, those live on this page. I just want to make sure you know how to get there, see where they live. The actual formal plan is also here. And then we're about a week, 2 weeks behind. My apologies on that on air monitoring updates. We just need to get the next ones translated, but we've got weekly data that you can look at a week's time, week snapshot in just, like a PDF file, or if you click on any one of these locations, I just clicked on Mountain View Middle School, it'll actually show you the real-time data that's reporting out of that site. And so while we work in the background to deploy more sites, my reminder to you this evening is that this is all available to you and readily available right off of the community page and of course our main webpage for Valley Air District. I'm going to go all the way back. So if all else fails, valleyair.org and AB617. And really, unless you guys have questions that I can take back to the team, I don't have much more for an update tonight.
Thank you so much for that update, Cesar.
Yeah, hi. I have a question about one thing I came across today. I know that the Kern Oil Refinery has a fence line monitor. So I went to this link, the link I just dropped in the chat, which is an Air District link. And if you click the Kern Oil and Refining Company fence line monitoring, like the monitor that is on the fence line where they're producing or refining the oil, there's a planned maintenance. They had a breakdown, or at least they reported a breakdown either late yesterday or early today. And to me, this is also something that I noticed that also happened, I think, January 20th of this year, where there was thick black smoke coming off of the flare, and the fence line monitor was offline when that thick black smoke was seen and reported. Fool me once, right? I think this shows a pattern of either turning the monitors off when there is either a breakdown or something that obviously is non-compliance. The black plume I saw today, according to the inspector, is something that makes the refinery be out of compliance unless it's a breakdown. So I think, knowing the status of the air around the refinery, especially during breakdowns, is very important to community members. And I personally feel a little uncomfortable knowing that at least twice now, community members have reported thick black smoke coming from the flare, and at the same time, the fence line monitors were offline. So if there is something that could be done to make sure that, if they are either negligent or incapable of maintaining this fence line monitoring system during breakdowns, then if something could be done to make sure that that information is recorded.
Thank you
Thank
so
you for that
much.
information, Cesar. Sorry, Dr. Rama. And question, you mentioned you did speak with our inspectors today. So I was glad to hear that you were in touch with them.
Yeah, the inspectors were awesome. They're very responsive, and
Fantastic.
I talked to them like 2 or 3 times today. Yeah.
We very much appreciate the information that you provide, Cesar. Thank you.
Thanks, Cesar. And we'll also turn it into an action item so we can follow up on this inconsistency and this concern that you just raised. Melinda?
Yeah, hi. This is Melinda Palmer from Kern Energy. Cesar, thank you for your concern. I can definitely address at least part of what you spoke to about our fence line monitoring system showing the downtime for maintenance today. It is valid that we have to do quarterly maintenance on the instrumentation to make sure that it's reading accurately. And so that is actually what's going on this week. And it is very unfortunate. And I understand that it seems very coincidental to the fact that we had a flaring event earlier today, but I can assure you that that's what is occurring. In this moment, I can't really speak to what you noted for the occurrence that you saw on January 20th. But what I can assure you is that we do strive to comply with our air permit requirements. And we will absolutely have to address that, and we will address that in the quarterly reporting that we do for the fence line system. And obviously, it's something that we would have reported to the district in terms of our, flaring notifications, timely per the district's rule and per our air permits. specific to today's event, and then whatever it is that you noted on January 20th. So, we're happy to follow through with those reporting obligations. We did interface with the APCD today. And like I say, we strive to be a good operator. Unfortunately, sometimes equipment breakdowns do occur. We do everything that we can to respond to them timely and to pull it back just as quickly as we can.
Thank you very much for that. And the other date, it was not January 20th. My apologies. It was, I think, the 7th of November of 2022. So a few months ago. And the plume that was coming off then was much thicker. So a much more serious incidents then. But I just wanted to make that correction there. And thank you very much, Melinda, for being responsive.
Yeah, you're very welcome. I've noted the new date that you put there. That's certainly something that we can look back at.
Thank you all for your collaboration in that. At this time, I'd like to invite the members of the pesticide subcommittee to provide any updates for the CSC today. Not sure who attended that meeting on the 31st of January. If you all have any updates that you'd like to share with the committee, or we can send the updates via email as well. I know we're getting towards the end of the meeting, so we'll go ahead and send. I saw Department of Pesticide Regulation just came online. Not sure if you have any other updates that you'd like to include.
Good afternoon, everyone. It is the same thing that basically was an email. I wanted to reiterate our sustainable pest management and the comment period that we have. I'm going to send a link into the chat here. We are looking for comments from the community. If there is anything that you want to be shared with the department, please provide your comments. So any decision that is being made for the Sustainable Pest Management Act can be informed by the feedback from the community as well. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And at this time, I'd like to invite any other organizations that have any updates before we wrap up today's conversation. All right, well, oh, I see, Gustavo, go ahead.
Yeah, yes, sorry for bothering you so much, but that's what I'm paying for. What are the next steps in terms of the sidewalks? I know that I think Christine, have homework, and we understand, that, they need to go and look at that, and just, also what Mario mentioned, I think he's correct. We know that Christine have her heart for Arvin, and we are willing to support her in any way that we can, definitely, to see these projects going on. But about I think Lamont, we may be a little bit more advanced, because I think the county, Yolanda, already had some preliminary plans. Can we plan something between now and next month? Maybe, I don't know how much Christine can do in Arvin, but asking Yolanda, what can we do, or the district, what can they do to keep pushing the Lamont proposed projects? What's next?
So if I could just jump in here. So I've contacted Yolanda, and I'm hoping that she can help provide a bid for, or just a general estimate for Comanche. So maybe we could do this as a joint project. So we got to give her a chance to do that, for the ones that scored high on Comanche. I think I would be really supportive of, having the county do the Comanche, the Arvin side, as well as the county side, just because if they're going to do the work and they have a team of people out there, it makes sense from a cost efficiency perspective to say, okay, if the CSC agrees that a certain amount of money is going to go to the Arvin side of Comanche and the county is already going to be out there doing the work, we'd probably be a lot more cost efficient to do it that way. So that's the first thing that I've asked, and hopefully Yolanda's awesome. I'm sure she'll get back to me as soon as she can. And then secondly, I have submitted those additional pictures that you sent over, and I've sent them out to our city engineer, and I'm asking for a follow-up by next week to determine, you know, a general budget and to what's feasible and what's not feasible. There were a couple things. So on those photos, it mentioned Franklin, and we just accepted a bid for Franklin Street. So the good news for the CSC team is that the entire length of Franklin Street is going to be paved. That doesn't require AB 617 money because we got a grant for that. The other thing on those photos I wanted to mention is that Haven was also identified, and I currently have a pending grant with CDBG for paving the entire length of Haven. So we don't want to spend AB 617 money if we are going to get funding elsewhere. So those two projects are, you know, in the works with the city. Also too, I saw some sidewalks needed along Derby. I have been aware of that. In fact, I wrote a grant for that. And because at the time there was a lot of utility conflicts on Derby, we ended up not moving forward on it. But I would like to suggest that we submit like a CMAQ application for Derby between Haven and Shipper, that whole length for sidewalk and perhaps some bike paths. So I'm going to move forward on that and coordinate with our engineering team because I think it's a good CMAQ grant. It will score highly. So some of the items that were mentioned on the photos today, we're already in the process of doing. And so I'm asking them, the engineers, to look at the Arvin Avenue one, the 4th Street one, and they've already gone out to some of the areas along Sycamore. Did have a quick question. We did a very large water diversion project on Sycamore, and I didn't see anybody bring that up again for this meeting. So I'm curious if that's still an issue, because we did a lot of drainage projects already along Sycamore. So if I could just get a little bit of feedback on that, that would be helpful.
Yeah, that sounds good. That sounds like a good, well, you have a huge list of next steps, Christine, and I appreciate you being very transparent and committed to this work and demonstrating how you're helping move this work forward and supporting the work. And it sounds like this last piece could be something that we could discuss at the next agenda setting meeting so that you can bring it back to the committee to make it a formal agenda item so that you can get proper feedback, because now we're a little bit over time. So it'd be great to make this an agenda item. So as a reminder, we now have introduced an agenda setting and debrief meeting that happens 1 week post these meetings. So our next agenda setting meeting is set for March 2nd. Let me just share my screen for a second so you can make a note of that. So the next meeting is set for March 2nd at 4 p.m. via Zoom. So you should have this in your inbox, and you should have it in as a calendar invite as well. To Christine's point, I think this is a great opportunity for you to provide feedback and to recommend what should be included in the next agenda or the next meeting. Our next official meeting is going to happen also via Zoom on March 22nd at 5 p.m. So we do invite you to come to these meetings to make sure that you are providing that feedback. During these agenda setting meetings, it is an opportunity for you to share recommendations on what should be included in these meetings, provide some feedback. If you have feedback for the Air District, have feedback for our team, the facilitators, or feedback for other partners that attend the meetings, that is a perfect opportunity for you to join and to really influence how the conversation is driven. CARB often attends those meetings. I see Michelle has posted on the chat here if there's updates that are happening from CARB. those things can also be included in the meeting. So as a reminder, those of you who are participating in the residential stipend program, please do make sure to reach out to our team. Sorry, excuse me. We have a new year and want to make sure that we have all of your W-9s on file and that we're able to continue to pay you in this new calendar year of 2023. With that, just like to make space for a general open public comment. If anybody has anything else to share, we have a couple minutes to share those things. I think Mario has unmuted. Please go ahead.
Yeah, next month, I need to make it for the meeting. I got my mom passed away, and I'm gonna bury her the second and the third. I'm gonna be with my mom in the mortuary. I won't make it next month.
I'm
Thank
so
you.
sorry for your loss and for your family's loss, Mario. Thank you for sharing my thoughts and our team's thoughts that are with you and your family. Please do let us know if you need anything. We'll be sure to reach out to you and make sure that we get your insights so that your voice is still here and part of the community.
I appreciate that.
Thank you. Sending you much love. Okay, and I'm seeing Michelle also has an update. You know, please keep an eye out for next month's pesticide subcommittee meeting, at which CARB and DPR will be looking for your guidance on the monitor. So it's really important for you all to attend those meetings. Not seeing any public comments. So at this point, we'd love to conclude today's meeting. Thank you all so much for being here today. Because we do have a very long list of action items, we are going to send them to you via email so that you can see those posted. And as you know, we review the action items at the beginning of the meeting, and we will also review them at the agenda setting meeting. Thank you so much and have a wonderful night.
Thank you, everybody. Good night.